All of you, welcome back once again. In this video, I'll give you a quick update about our supply chain management DApp project we have built on our channel. So I would highly encourage you to follow the complete playlist. In that you will master every single technology which you have to know to build a decentralized supply chain management, that how you can track the data, how you can pass the data, how you can simply transfer the fund. That's all we have discussed extensively. So in this video, I'm going to give you the overview of the technology and the project architecture we have designed in this particular project. So you can simply come back to the starter file, click here, it will take you to the GitHub repository, and there you will find all the folder and file structure we have included in this particular project. So you can able to find all the starter file, you can come back to the package.json file, and then you can able to monitor that what are the packages we are using in this particular project. So we are using the advanced packages, which is very much stable at the moment. We are using Tailwind CSS for our front end component for styling part. So make sure to follow it. You will understand every single thing which we are building in this particular project. And if you scroll down here, you will find all the requirement of the project, that what are the installation you have to do in your operating system to execute this particular project. So we are using the most stable version. So simply clone the repository and start following the complete project. You will master every single technology which you have to know as a blockchain developer. Now I will come back to the blockchain coder, and in this video I'm going to show you how you have to do the final code setup and the architecture overview. So if you take the final source code, you're going to give your valuable contribution to my team to bring a tutorial like this. So once you will download the final source code, you will get this zip file. Make sure to extract this file and you will get this particular folder in which you will have the complete source code of this particular project which we have coded together in the project. And this is the folder we have to open in our VS Code. So make sure you should have some zip extractor in your operating system, then you can able to extract the folder. So this is the folder which I'm going to open. So I'll simply click on this my VS Code. Here I am. I will go back to open. I'll go back to download, and I'm going to simply drag and drop the folder I have. Now let me give you a quick walkthrough about the architecture we have included in this particular project and the structure and the technology which we have in the project. So the very first section we have in our project which we have coded is our component, in which you will find all the component we have designed for our front end part. So this is the SVG icon in which we have keep all the SVG icon which we have provided to you. So you can simply start following straight away. The next one we have is the complete shipment, in which we have built the entire front end and we have received the data from the front end which we can pass into the contract. So we can complete the shipment. Got it? The next one we have is the footer. This is all the footer menu which we are displaying. The next one we have is the form, because we have to display the form where user can create the shipment. The next one we have is the get shipment, which will give us the details about a specific shipment from our contract, and we can able to track down the supply, whether it's a deliver or it's pending, the funding. That's all we can track down. Now we have this index.js. So what we are doing, we are simply importing all the files, all the component into a central location, and from there we can simply exporting it so we can utilize it in our different part of our application. That's what we have. The next one we have is the navbar. So you can is able to do modification right up here in the navbar. You can provide the URL, and that's all you will find. So it's 100% responsive for all the screen sizes as well. So simply close this one. The next one we have is the profile, in which we are displaying the details about the users, balance, shipment count, and how many shipment it has created. That's all you will find right up here. The next one we have is the service section, which we have this. So we are displaying the service component. This is the start shipment, which user can call to start the shipment. So the shipment would be processed. And that's the code we have written. The next one we have is the table, in which we are feeding the data from the smart contract so the user can identify that which shipment is in which mode. So that's all we have here. So this is the entire folder file structure. You don't need to touch anything. I'll tell you what are the changes you have to do in the code and how you can execute this particular project. So this is the component section we have. The next one we have is the context, in which you will find that we have this particular folder called tracking context.js. So here we have built the entire logic for our contract interaction, getting the ABI and bringing all the functionality. So we are importing the packages. We are getting our ABI from our artifact. So when we'll deploy the contract, it's going to generate this artifact folder. And from there, we are accessing our ABI of our contract, which I will show you. We are getting the environment variable. So we are getting the information about the network where we have deployed the contract. And we are getting the contract address from our environment variable. So you don't need to touch anything in the code. Every single thing is dynamic. Here we have the function which allows us to fetch the contract object, which we have discussed extensively. And I'm going to show you how you can deploy the contract locally. So first we're going to deploy using Hardhat in the local environment. I do all the testing. After that, we're going to move to Holesky. And you can simply move to Sofali as well. So this is the 3 network in which you can deploy your contract. And if you look at the network configuration, this is the exact detail you have to provide. So if you want to deploy to actual Polygon or Polygon MOI network, you have to give the chain ID, name, you have to give the symbol, it's going to be a decimal endpoint, and you have to provide the appropriate RPC URL for that particular blockchain, which I will show you how you can get that. In the same way you can do with the art, like Sofali, you can see this is the exact details we have provided, but these details are relevant to the Sofali. So the structure is going to be the same, but you have to provide the exact information based on the blockchain which you are picking up for deployment. Got it? Now close this one. This is the network. And here we have the chain network function and other function we have, which allow us to simply make the communication with the contract and perform the transaction. So you don't need to touch anything. Just keep it as it is. Close this one. The next one we have is the contract. This is the huge contract we have written, which facilitate the entire transaction of the supply chain management. So make sure to follow the complete project. You will understand every single architecture. So close this one. Then we have the images, in which we have keep all the images for our front end, which we are displaying. That's all you will find. We are simply importing and exporting. Got it. The next one we have is our pages. So it's going to be a single page application. So if I come back to app.js, we are doing the context management setup, so we can able to have the data in all over our component, and that's what we are doing here. Now we can come back to the index.js. This is our home page. There you will find that we are importing all the component. We are getting our context management, and we are getting all of the function we have designed in our context management, so we can pass on to our variable. So this is the state variable we have taken. We have the function to get the campaign, and that's all we have here. So this is all the component, like service component, table component, form component, profile component, like complete component, get shipment. That's all the one we have here. So you don't need to touch anything, just keep it as it is. The next one we have is the public. You can keep all the assets. Currently we don't have anything in this. The next one we have is the script. So this will allow us to deploy our contract. So we have to simply execute the contract, and the contract will deploy, and is going to give the address of the contract, which we have to provide in our environment variable, which I will tell you and show you practically. Close this one. The next one we have is the style. So we are using Tailwind CSS. That's what we have used, and we have used our custom classes for the background. That's all we have. The next one we have our environment variable, and this two environment variable is absolutely must. So this one is our backend environment variable, which allow us to deploy the contract. So if I click here in the environment variable, you have to get your credential. So you have to get your own RPC URL for deploying to the actual test network. That's the one which you have to provide. You have to provide your wallet private key, which you want to use for deploying the contract. Right now, this particular private key which I have given is the hard account, because first we're going to test in the local environment hard account. So you can go with that. But when you go to deploy to the actual test network like Holesky, you have to get your own RPC URL, because this RPC URL which I'm going to provide you, it will have a limited number of requests. So you have to get your own. I'll show you how you can get your own. So close this one. The next one we have is the local environment, means the front end environment variable. So click here and you will find that you have to provide these two things. The contract address, once you will deploy that, and you have to tell that which network you want to activate and use the application. So if you have deployed the contract locally, then this is the exact address you will get. So that's why I have activated as a local. And that's what you have to set here. So whatever you give here, that's automatically going to be triggered right up here. So if you will find this is the network, I have called this localhost with a lower, and that's the exact thing I have given. So whatever you call, give the name to the network, that's the exact name you have to provide in the environment variable. That's the thing you have to keep in mind. So first thing, as a default, you will get in the final source code is the localhost. Just follow along with me. The next one we have is the code setup, and this one is very important. You can simply watch this video. So the video which I'm recording, that's what I'm going to attach here. So you can simply watch that video till the end to understand the architecture and how you have to do the setup of the code and execute and deploy. So this is all the things which I have explained. If you want to deploy this project to online, you can use Hostinger. Right now, they are giving more than 50% discount on their first planning. So if you are getting any error, you can simply shoot an email. We'll try to help you on that. So this is the setup part. Now, the next one we have is the hard setup. And this one is very important. You have to understand that how hard environment exactly work. So when you're going to deploy, when you're going to run the local node using Hardhat will give you 20 plus account. You can use only those account in your local environment, not in the actual mainnet. And you cannot use the mainnet account in your local environment. That's the first thing you have to keep in mind. Make sure you should have watched this video, because this particular project required Hardhat, and Hardhat is compatible with this particular node version. If you have any other node version, you cannot able to use hard. So make sure to downgrade your node version to this or upgrade your node version to this. Make sure to watch this video till then. In that I have explained that how you can downgrade and upgrade and why we have to use this particular node version when we are using hard in our project, because hard is very powerful tool. We have to focus on security testing in the Web3 ecosystem. So we have to use hard. And here you will find some other installation that you can install the packages. Then you have to do the setup. So we have to run the local node, and when you will run this local node is going to give you 20 plus account, which we're going to simply use it for testing our contract. And when you will deploy the contract, by default Hardhead will use this particular account, the very first account, and it will become the admin of the contract. And by default you will get 10,000 fake ETH which you can use for testing the contract. This is the exact configuration you have to do in your MetaMask if you really want to execute and do the transaction in the local environment. So you have to give the chain ID, ETH as a symbol, name, and RPC URL, which you will get when you will run this particular command, which I will show you, which is already given to all of you guys. If you come back here in the tracking context, go back to the localhost. This is the exact configuration you have to do in your MetaMask. Chain ID, name, ETH, decimal point, and this is the RPC URL we'll get in our local environment. And this one is an option. Just keep it as it is. I hope you have understood this. Now we can come back to the hardware setup. And one thing you have to keep in mind that whenever you are testing in the local environment and you are changing your account from account 1 to account 2, you have to clear the history of the MetaMask. If you don't do that, there is a possibility that your transaction will fail, because MetaMask keep the history of the previous account. So that's the thing you have to keep in mind. And here you will find all the account which Hardhead will provide you, which you can use and test your contract. So you can only use this account when you are deploying your contract locally. You cannot use the actual account. So by default, Hardhead will use this account for deploying your contract, and you can simply copy the private key, and that's what we have to provide here because we are testing locally. Got it? Hope this is clear to all of you guys. Correct? This is all the Hardhead account which we're going to use while deploying our contract. So let's close this one, and here we have the Hardhead config file. So I have done the network configuration for 3 different network like Hardhead, Holesky, and we have the Sofali. So if you want to configure any other network, you can simply replicate it. You can give the name, whatever name you want to give, and you can simply provide the chain ID, because every single blockchain has its own chain ID. This RPC URL and private key will come from our environment variable. So make sure you have to update based on the network where you are deploying. Got it? If you come back to the packages and files, so we are using the modern packages, which you can able to find right up here. So this command will start the local environment, and this will help us to generate the artifact for our contract. We're going to execute this command for deploying in our local environment. If you want to deploy it to Holesky, you have to execute this command. If you want to deploy it to Sofali, that's what we have to execute here. And you can see we have given the name. This one is the localhost. So if you come back to the Hardhead config file, this is the exact name we have given to our Hardhead config file, Holesky. So when you are using any other network rather than localhost, you have to specify the exact key name here, and that's the name you have to give to the configuration here. So it can trigger, and that's how we make the relation. We have done the same thing for the Sofali. And when you will execute this particular command, is going to delete all these node modules, packages and file, cache and artifact, which will be generated every time whenever you run the project. And we have to execute this command to run the local node, which we're going to do it for testing our project. So this is the entire architecture we have, the packages which we are using. This is the port CSS. We have the readme file. There you will find all the details which I have provided, that what are the requirements you need to have. That's all you will find. How to get the starter file, how to watch the video, what are the installation you have to do, how you can simply get the free faucet. That's all you will find here. We have the tailwind config file. So that's the configuration we have done. We have called this component with a capital C, and that's what we have done. If you are creating any other folder, so make sure to give the relevant folder name. So this is the complete folder and file structure for our project. Now let's try to test our project. So the very first thing you have to do is to open up your terminal, and you have to check your node version. So if I check my node version at the moment, I have the latest one. And the moment I will try to execute and install the project, it will throw me an error because this Hardhead package is not compatible with this latest node version. And so we have to downgrade our node version to the required one, and that will help us to do the installation and combine the packages as a whole, so we can do the testing and deployment of the contract. So I'm going to use NVM. NVM stands for node version manager. So I'll say NVM-V. So I'm using this particular version, and by default you won't have this one. So make sure to watch this video watch this video where it is. Watch this video in which I have explained that how you can downgrade and upgrade your node version and how you can install NVM in your system, because by default you won't have it. So I have already NVM installed in my system, so I can simply downgrade it. So to use a specific version in of node through NVM, we have to call this particular command. We'll say us, we'll say NVM use, and we have to give the version name. So I'll go with 18.70.1. This is the exact we need. Now hit enter. The moment you will hit enter, it will automatically downgrade your node version. Now if I check my node version, you can see I have the required one. Now I can able to do the installation of the packages and everything would be working absolutely fine. So let me do the installation. I'll type npm I and the installation is started. Once the installation will complete, after that we're going to start working on our node. We're going to run this particular node which will start our local blockchain. So this might takes a little bit time depending on your internet speed. So just wait. You can see the installation is started. Soon the installation will be completed and we are ready to run our local blockchain. And finally, we have done with the installation. You can see we are getting a couple of depreciated. Simply ignore that one because we have to focus on the stability, because we are using hardhead in our package and we are getting a couple of vulnerability is not that important because we are focusing on the stability, and it say that we have the updated version which is not that suitable at the moment. So we have to simply clear our terminal. Once you're done with that, now we have to execute this particular command. So we make sure you should always check your node version. I have the required one. I'll say npm run and I have to give the command node, hit enter. This one is going to start our local blockchain. You can see it will give you 20 plus account, and this is the exact account which I have provided to all of you guys right up here. So I have simply copy from here till here, and by default Hardhead will use this particular account for deploying your contract, and it will each one of this account will have 10,000 fake key. And you can see this is the endpoint, the RPC URL we have, and that's what exactly I have provided right up here in our network configuration, RPC URL. Got it? So our local blockchain is running. Make sure you have to keep running this. You don't need to stop this one. The moment you will do, you cannot able to twist the contract locally. So this one is running. Now I have to open a new terminal. And if I check my new terminal node version, I have the latest one. And this is the configuration I have in my system. And by default, you will have the same one. So you have to downgrade your node version here as well. So let me quickly do that. Now I have the required node version, and this time I have to execute this deploy. Execute this command to deploy the contract. So this one is running. Keep this running. Now I can come back here and we are deploying to our localhost. So the moment you will come back here, this is the command we have to copy because we are testing locally. Once you're done with that, type npm run and give this one. The moment I will execute this command, the contract will be compiled and it will generate me a couple of folders and files. So let's hit enter. The moment you will hit enter, you can see the contract is getting compiled. It's executing our command which will deploy the contract in our local environment, and here we got the contract address which we need. Now we can close this one, and here you will find that it will be generated this artifact. Inside the artifact you will have this contract, and this is the ABI which we need, and that's what we are targeting right up here in the context. This is what we are targeting. Got it? So we got our artifact ABIs. Now we have to simply copy this one address, close this one, come back to the front end part .local, and here we have to provide. It will give you the exact address because that's the default behavior of Hardhead. So it will give you the same address in your case as well. So this one is done. Now we have to simply start the application. So before we start, I want you to do a couple of setup in your MetaMask wallet. So click on this MetaMask, and right now you will find this localhost is already configured in my MetaMask wallet. So I would encourage you to first delete it. So to delete it, you have to select other net. Then you can come back and click on this, and you can do the editing and change all this variable. But this is what you need for testing the contract locally. Got it? So I'll simply click here and I'm going to delete it. So right now we don't have the localhost in our system. That's the first thing you have to do. Now if I open my account, so you can see this is the account 1, account 2 is my actual account, and account 3, 4, 5 is my Hardhead account which I have imported. So I can only use this account which I have imported from my Hardhead. I cannot use this account for testing the contract. So let's try to delete this account. Let's remove this one. So somehow this account is not getting removed because this is the problem we're having in the MetaMask for the last couple of days. So what I will do, I'll just keep it as it is. So this one account 2266 is the admin of the contract we have deployed, and this is the other account which I have imported. So if you don't know how to import account, you can simply come back here and you can pick any account. You can, let's say I want to import this account number 5. I can simply copy the private key and I can simply come back here, click on this. Let's click on this, click on the import account and paste here and import. And you will be imported because right now the hard network is not available. That's why it's giving me this error. So that's how you can import the account. So always make sure that you should import this account first, this account first, this account first, 0, because this one is going to be the admin. Got it? Now I'm going to start the application. So I have to execute this particular command, the dev one. So simply type npm run dev and it's going to start the local blockchain. You can see it will give you the URL. Simply copy this one. And here we got this node, the compiler. Now I'm going to minimize this one. So this one is minimized. You don't need to delete it. Otherwise, your application will stop and it will not work. So make sure to minimize it. You can do it from here or you can simply do it from here depending on your system configuration. So I'll simply minimize this one. I'll simply close this one. Now I'm ready to test the application. I'm going to open a new tab and I'm going to paste the URL right up here. And here it will automatically open this pop-up model because this is the advanced configuration I have added. If the local is not added in the MetaMask, is going to add it manually, automatically. So click on this approve and the network is added successfully. If I click here, you can see the localhost is added. I have to click on this connect and I'm connected. You can see it added successfully. If you click on this, it will have the details which we have provided. So this is how you can have the configuration in your MetaMask. And you can see it will automatically reflect the fund because this fund is the test faucet. If I try to delete any other account, let me see that whether I can able to do it or not. MetaMask is not allowing me to delete the account. This is the weird problem is happening for quite few days. So make sure to simply give a reload and you will find that your account close it as successfully. Now let's check whether we can able to add the account one more time because I already have enough account. That's why it's causing the issue. So you can simply click here and click here, click on this add, import and paste here and import. Right now it's showing me this error because I already have enough account. If you still having any issue, make sure to remove the MetaMask and reinstall the MetaMask in your browser and create a fresh account. It will fix the issue because I have a lot of account which is going on. That's why it's preventing me. And this is the account which I have set as a auto configuration. So if you're still having an issue, make sure to delete the MetaMask from your browser, reinstall it, create your account and do the exact configuration. Everything would be working fine. You can see the network configuration is done. Now I have to simply clear my MetaMask history. Go to advanced, clear and reload the page. Now I'm ready to start testing the project. So first thing I have to do is to create the shipment. So I'll click on this add tracking. It's going to give me this one and I have to give the recipient address. So there I will go with the account number 4 as a recipient. So I'll simply click on this account detail. I will copy the address and I have copied. I still am on account number 3. The moment you will change your account, you have to simply clear your history. Okay, I'll give the recipient. I can give the date. So it's going to be 26. I can give the distance. So 45. And here I have to give the price. So it's going to be, let's say 3. You can give any price. I'm testing this contract on the test network in the local environment. So I have enough funds. So I can give this 3. But when you are testing on actual test network, make sure you should have some fund. Then you can give that one because this fund would be transferred from your wallet address to the contract. So click on this create shipment and it's going to make a call and I have to click on this confirm. And the transaction is completed. You can see it's pending. I can click here. I can give the recipient address. I can give the date and I can create one more shipment for 29. I can give the price to 45 and like I can say 45 is the distance. Let's say 23 is the price. Click on this create shipment and here we have it. We have created that. It's pending. Now, if I want to start the shipment, I can do that very easily. I can click here, get shipment, and I can see the details. So I can give the ID of the shipment. First is the 0, and you can able to find the details which we have provided. This is the sender, this is the recipient, pickup time, delivery time, and that's all you will find. I can give this another one, and I can click on this, and it will change the data about the next shipment. If you go beyond, which is not there, it will not give you any details. Okay, that's how you can get the details about the shipment, and it's not paid yet. Now we have to start the shipment. So once you create the shipment, you have to start the shipment. So click here and here you have to give the recipient address and you have to give the ID. So I'll go with the ID 1 and click on this start shipment and it's going to make a call. Click on this confirm and the shipment is started. You can see it's in the transmit. So that's the one thing you have to do. If you come back here, if you check the ID 1, it's in the transmit. Status 1 is the transmit. Status 0 means pending. Now we can come back to the complete, and I can give this, and I can give the ID and click on this shipment complete, and it will be completed, and the shipment is completed, and you can able to find that it's delivered, the timestamp, and the fund is also transferred. In the same way, you can create more shipment. You can pick the date, you can give the distance, you can give the price, and click on this create shipment. Is going to make a call, and here we have it. In the same way, you can simply come here, and this time I can start with the 0 because that's the first shipment. Click on this and compare it. It's in the transmit. So you can see every single data is reflecting in our component. Fine, we have done the network configuration and testing quickly. If you can't find the data, that means that you have not done the network configuration properly. So you can simply do the inspect element. You can come back here in the console, and there you will find all the details about the project. So if you have done anything wrong in the setup, you will find the error right up here. So click on this. So you can see we are getting couple of warning. It's not an error because we have to use the specific classes, and I haven't used it. It's not that important. You can see there is no error we have related to the contract. Everything is working fine. If you come back to the information, we have the array, 3 shipment we have created. That's all we have here. So make sure to follow the complete project. You will understand every single thing that how you have to do this, build this particular application. You can see we are getting the contract, all of the function we have included. So if the data is not reflecting, that means that you have not done the setup properly. And that's the details which you will find here. All this is 100% responsive. That's how you can do the setup. The moment I will come back here, I can do one thing. I can click on this my user profile. You can able to see the balance which you hold in your wallet and the total number of shipment which you have created. If I come back here, if I go back to the account number 4, and you can see the fund is transferred straight away. It went up 23 because we have completed the shipment, and the fund is transferred successfully to the user. The moment I reload the page, you will find that we have this shipment. If I click here, there is no shipment I have created. So we are tracking the data exactly beautifully. So this is how you can test the project in the hardened environment. I hope this part is clear. You have understood that how you can test it. And if you are getting any error, make sure to check your console, do the inspect element console. There you will find the details that what wrong you have done and what fix you have to do. That's all you will find here. So that's the first thing. Now let me show you how you can deploy the contract to the Ethereum test network Holesky. So I'll simply close this one, open up my terminal. I'm going to simply close this one, close this one. Now we have to do a couple of things. So first thing we have to do is to come back to our environment variable. And here we have to provide the actual data. We have to provide the actual RPC URL of the network where we are deploying. So I'm going to deploy to Holesky. So that's what I have given. And here you have to provide your actual wallet private key, in which you have some fund for this particular network. So let's get this particular RPC URL, and you have to get your own RPC URL because right now they have a limit on the RPC endpoint. So make sure to come back ankr.com. So simply open a new tab, ARNK, and you will come back here, or I have also given you the link right up here in the readme file. So you can come back here and you will find that the link is already given. So you can simply copy the link. Here you will find the NARKM. So you can simply copy this one, copy this link, and that's what you can come and you can paste here and hit enter. It will take you to the endpoint section. Here you will find list of the network which is available, which you can simply use it. So we are testing on Ethereum test network, and that's what we're going to pick. So make sure to pick a particular network, and based on that you have to do the configuration, because sometimes this network can be down. So if I come back to the ether scan, you should always check whether network is in the maintenance mode or is in the active mode. So if I come back here, if I go back to the Holesky test network, I can be able to find the information that this network is in the active mode. There's no in maintenance mode. You can, the same way, if you want to test on the Sofali, you can simply check the Sofali. It's also in the active mode. But the transaction will take a lot of time for performing the transaction on the Sofali. That's why I'm going on Holesky. Sometime what I have noticed that test network is down. So you have to always test that. So come back here and I'll go back the Ethereum, click on this, and I can go back to the Holesky. That I will select that one, click on this copy endpoint and click on this test Holesky and simply copy. Make sure to get your own, because after this project I'm going to delete this one. So close this one, come back here, and you have to get your own one. That's what I'm going to provide. I got my RPC URL. Now I have to get my private key in which I have some fund. So to get RPC URL, you can come back here. You can open up your MetaMask and we're going to deploy to Holesky. So you can come back here and you can see that I have already Holesky right up here in my MetaMask. So if I show you the details, I can click here. I can able to find that all of these details which I have provided. So this is the Holesky, this is the RPC URL, the same one which I have copied from here. That's what I have provided right up here. So you can do the manual configuration. So let me switch back one more time to Holesky and let me show you the details. So this is the name I have given. This is the same RPC URL I have provided. This is the chain ID you have to provide. This is the ETH symbol. And this is the Holesky Explore URL, which you can get from right up here. So if you come back here, you can simply copy, and that's what you can provide. So that's how you can do the manual configuration. So I'll simply select here, and right now you can see I don't have fund because this is the hard hat account and I cannot use the hard hat account. So I'll simply click here and I will come back to my account. So this is the account 1 and account 2 is my actual account. So you can see in both the account I have enough fund which I can use for deploying the contract. So let's start with the account 1 and you will see I have enough fund in that. I have 9.626 ETH I have, which is enough for me to deploy the contract. If you don't have the fund, you have to have some fund in your wallet address, then you can able to deploy the contract. So you can get it from two places. You can simply come back here, or you can go back to the blockchain coder resource section and you can simply come here, and from here you can able to mine your own faucet which you can transfer to your wallet address and do the testing, which I have explained in detail in this particular video, that how you can mine it. So make sure to watch it if you want to use this particular application for getting the faucet. Or you can simply get it from Google. So you can simply type Google Cloud Web3 and you can simply go back to the Web3 faucet, and here you will find multiple network which you can simply pick for transferring the faucet to your wallet address. So we are using Holesky. You can simply click here and you can pick Holesky and you have to paste your wallet address. So you can simply come back here and you can give your wallet address, the account which you want to use for deployment, and paste here and click on this send. I have already done the transfer a while ago. You can see I have already done this transfer half an hour ago, and that's why I cannot do it, because I have to wait for 24 hours. So in 24 hours, you can do transfer only once. So you will get one ETH faucet in your wallet. And this is the account which I'm going to use for deploying one of the contracts. So I have to get my private key. So I'll simply click here. I go back to my account details. I click on the show private key and I can give it my password. So I'll say, and I can click on this hold. You should not share your private key with anyone else. If someone will know your private key, they can able to withdraw all the fund which you have in your account. And by mistake, I showed one of my test account private key, and I have noticed that one of you guys have withdraw all the fund which I had in that particular wallet. It was close to 5 ETH I had. Test ETH. So make sure to don't share your private key. Come back to your code, and here you have to provide the private key. So let me paste it. So finally, I have provided my private key and the RPC URL in my environment variable for deploying the contract. Every single thing is good. Now what you have to do is you can come back here in the local environment and we have to fill out these two details. So this time we're going to test on the actual network. So what I want to do is I want to do one more thing right up here. I can also take a variable for RPC URL. RPC URL. And you have to provide it. So we have to use the extension called net public network RPC URL. And here you have to provide the RPC URL where you are deploying your contract. So we can come back here and we have to copy because we are deploying to Holesky. So I'm going to simply copy the same RPC URL. And that's what I have. And you have to get your RPC URL. And I can come back here, and here I have already imported the RPC URL. And I have to give the same RPC URL in this network places right up here. So this is fine. Don't need to make any changes in the localhost, but we can do in the Sofali one. So I can simply give this RPC URL. Same I can do with the Holesky. So whichever network you are deploying, make sure to provide the same network RPC URL. Otherwise, you're going to have an error. So this is the update which I have done just now. It would be there in the final source code. So we are done with that. Now we have to get these two things, contract address and the network. So I'm going to simply replicate this one. I'm going to simply comment this one because this two is for the localhost. And here we have this. Here we have to paste our actual network where we are deploying the contract and the contract address. So we can simply do one thing. We can come back here in the context right up here we have, and we can simply copy this one. And that's what I'm going to simply activate. Holesky. That's the one thing I have to do. Now I have to deploy my contract and get the address. So to do that, I can simply come back here. I can go back to my package.json file, and this is the command which we have to execute. Holesky. The moment we execute this command is going to trigger this particular network configuration we have right up here, and it's going to deploy the contract. So it will take our RPC URL automatically. It will take our private key automatically, and this is the chain ID, and it's going to deploy our contract to Holesky. Got it? Now we can come back here. Let's copy this particular command, Holesky, open up your and type npm run and paste this one and hit enter. And it's going to initialize the contract and it's going to compile the contract. So just wait, soon the deployment will complete and you will get the deployed contract address. So we got the contract address, you can simply copy that one and you can simply verify on scan. This is the Sofali one, this is the Holesky. I can simply paste the address, hit enter, and you will find that our contract is deployed successfully and you can able to find the details about this particular contract which is there on our there. You can see we have deployed and the deployer, that's all you will find. You can click here and you can able to see the details about the deployment. This is the contract creation we have done from this particular account. You can see the fund we have, that's all you will find. So we have deployed our contract successfully. Now you can simply copy this one, close this one, and that's the same thing you have to provide right up here. Paste it here and clear our terminal. Now we can simply close this one. Now I can simply check my node version. I'll say node-v. I have the latest one. I have to simply downgrade it my node version. So let's do that. This is the one I have done it. Now I can simply start the application. Npm run dev, hit enter. It's going to start the application on localhost 3000. Simply copy this one, minimize this one. Now you can come back here. Let me close all of this open tab and let's close this one. And I can simply paste here, hit enter, and you can see it will start the application and it will automatically connect our wallet. So you can see it will automatically switch to the Holesky. The moment I will do one thing, the moment I will switch my network and give a reload, it will automatically switch the network to localhost. Like sorry, Holesky, because we have the advanced configuration. If I do the logout, it will be automatically popped up and it will display that we are not connected. It's displaying. So somehow this MetaMask is creating the problem because I cannot able to log out as well. So that's the weird problem is happening because I have running two different nodes. We have successfully connected. Our wallet is reflecting fine. And this is the account which I have used for deploying the contract. Now I'm ready to create my campaign. So I can simply click on this and I can give the address. So I have to use my actual address, which is this one. Copy. I've done it. So I'm still on account number 1. If I change my account to account 2, I have to simply clear my MetaMask history. Let's give the recipient address. I have to pick the date, be 26, distance is going to be, let's say 50. And here I have to give the balance. So you can see that I have enough balance, but I don't want to give enough balance. I can give this 0.1 ETH. So make sure whatever balance you have to give very little amount because this fund will be transferred from your wallet address to the recipient wallet address. Now click on this create shipment. It's going to make a call. And this time we are interacting with actual test network. Click on this confirm. And the transaction in the process, you can able to find the details about the transaction. It's in the process. It's taking the fund from your wallet asset and going to transfer to the different address where you have given the recipient. So this might take a little bit time, just a moment, because this is the actual transaction we are doing on the actual test network. And finally, the transaction is completed. You can see we got the confirmation and we got a page reload, and here you will find the data is reflecting fine. In the same way, I can create one more transaction. I can paste here. I can pick a date. I can go back here to 1, give a kilometer is 23. I can give the same amount and I can click on this create shipment and click on this confirm the transaction in the process. Once the transaction will complete, you will find that we have successfully created our second shipment. And here we got our second shipment. The data is reflecting fine. Pending. If you click on this user profile, you will find that you have created successfully. Your font is reflecting fine. If I want to simply check the details, I can give an ID, click on this details, and it will reflect me that. If I click on this one, and it's going to change the data. So that's how you can check. If I want to start the shipment, I can come back here, give the recipient address, and this time I will go with 1. Click on this, and it's going to open this one. I can click on this confirm, and the transaction in the process. The shipment is started, and finally the transaction is completed. The page is reload, and we have simply, you can able to find that it's in the transmit. If I want to simply complete that one, I can click here, I can give the recipient address and I can give the ID. When I will call this function, is going to automatically transfer the funds and the shipment will be completed. You can able to find the details, the data we are passing, and here we are. Simply open this one, you can see the transaction is happening. We are passing 0 fund and we are making the transaction. So just a moment, soon the transaction will complete. And the transaction is completed, and here you will find the product is delivered and the price is also transferred. If you have any issue, make sure to do the inspect element, come back here and check. Right now you can see this is just a warning. Here you will find all the array, all the data we are getting absolutely fine from the actual test network. So this is how you have to do the setup of the project. I hope you have understood. and every single thing is working fine. So I would highly encourage you to follow the complete project. You will understand every single thing, every single architecture we have included in the project. And you can come back to the source code section. There you will find the resources for this particular project. So simply download the starter file and you will start following the complete project. Recently, I have launched this particular course in which you will master complete blockchain development from beginner to advanced. So make sure to check this one. In this, you're going to build one of the biggest NFT marketplace, which has 5 different contracts interacting with one another. You're going to master Solidity programming language. You're going to master the security. You're going to master backend API development, security optimization. So it has more than 80 plus hours of content which you will find. So make sure to check this one. It will teach you every single thing which you have to know to become a blockchain developer. So that's the only thing from my end. If you have any question in doubt, do let me know in the comment section. I'll definitely try to help you in that. Have a wonderful day. Bye bye.